Hi, travelers. Oh, hold on. I need to fix something while I'm up here. This is going to be an open reading um, for the week of October 1st through the 7th. Now, I want to make an announcement because I'm going to have to change the way that I have been working up to this point. Um, for the past month, I've been having unexplained tremors. They just come out of no place. I kind of get a warning that it's coming. Um, I get a little tingle at the top of my head, and then, my arms, my legs, I've fallen down a couple of times. I went the other day and had a CAT scan. And from what we can ascertain from just reading the report, it appears that they have found what they think is a benign tumor on my pineal gland. It appears that my carotid arteries are good, but they're like, your brain's not getting enough oxygen and this, that, and the other. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. I'm scheduled for an MRI, but that's not until February. I go back to the VA to meet with the doctor so we can discuss the CAT scan results. And I think they're going to be giving me a fall detection device. And so I don't know what this is. I don't have anything to compare it to. There's not a history of Parkinson's or MS in my family. After the doctor gave me my initial, they do the testing, and it's not muscle weakness. It's just some kind of neurological thing. And I don't know, it's completely unexplainable. It comes out of nowhere. So I have had to alter pretty much everything. I'm not able to get out and mow my grass the way I want, or walk my dogs, or drive. Y'all know I'm always talking about how I love my standard, right? And because I don't know if, I'm driving, if I'm going to have a tremor, and I literally lose control of my right arm and leg. And you need those two things. You're using both your arm, both your feet when you're driving the standard. So I'm going to have to alter the way that I work. And so what that means is that I'm going to, it's just becoming too much for me at the moment. So I'm trying to decide now if I'm going to get rid of the membership website and just leave open everything to everybody and still do readings. I'll still be doing private or personal readings for people, but it's just becoming at this point too much to do two sets of readings, one for YouTube, one for the website for members. And I've got several articles. I've written some articles that I want to get posted up also over to the newsletter. And I just don't know. I was in here working the other day and had a tremor, and I couldn't even, type on the keyboard. So we'll just have to see how that goes. For those of you who have already purchased a yearly membership, and I haven't made this decision quite just yet, how I'm going to do this. But if you've already paid this year for a yearly membership, you will be getting back a prorated, and a 6-month membership, you will be getting back a prorated amount if I do this or decide to do this. And I will notify, I'll probably just do a video and let everybody know. I'll post it up here to YouTube and post it up on the website as well to let people know. And so in that vein, I'm not going to be doing the elementals for October, and I won't be doing any of the October general readings for the website. I just, but what I did want to do, I'm going to tell y'all something. This has been the most hellish Mercury retrograde I have ever experienced in my 57 years on Earth. It's just been the hellish. From the bad weather to almost the collapse of the British economy. I have had 2 contracts that I've had forever having to do with my house suddenly go south. I don't know what's happening, and I'm going to have to go get a lawyer. I got to go see a lawyer on Monday about one of them. And so this has just been the strangest thing. So I don't know if anybody else needs a reading, but I know I need a reading. I'm going to be honest with you. I did a couple of readings, I don't know, 4 or 5 months back. I just pulled some cards for myself, and the cards kept saying that my business was going to end. Now, and I didn't pay any attention to it. I made note of it, but I'm just like, I don't understand how that would happen. I don't, because I love doing my work. And that's why I tell you the cards never lie. So, of course, when there's one ending, there's a new beginning. So we shall see. I'm still trying to do my classwork for astrology. I am behind a couple of weeks. And so, I'm just trying to mosey along and do whatever it is that I do. So with that being said, I need a little something. I don't know if y'all do. So here we go. We've got the Radiant White deck. I have with me the Levita Sibila for clarification. And I don't know exactly what the cards are going to say. So let's just see what the story is, and then we'll determine afterwards at the end what would be the best oracle card to pull, okay, to close out the reading. I hope everyone is well. If you have family or friends in Florida, I do hope that they are safe. You have heard from them. I lived through Hurricane Harvey, and I'm going to tell you something. A hurricane ain't no joke. And I feel because they're getting so much stronger now, they're going to need to reclassify them and move up to a Category 6. I mean, it's just, and the destruction, I just, my heart just goes out to those people because I've been through it, and I know what it's like to be cut off. There's no water. There's no food. You can't move. Harvey wasn't nearly as bad as, let's say, Katrina. Katrina like set the bar, but this, I think, was an even bigger catastrophe than Katrina. So, all right, here we go. Hold on one second. Hey, dogs. Knock it off. All right, here we go. 9 cards down. 8 of Swords. Okay, and I'll try to close the blinds because it looks like it might be a bit too much light. I don't know if you can see that. The 7 of Cups. The 6 of Swords. Well, that's good. In a sense, that kind of tells me that you got something cleared up here. Okay. The King of Cups. Justice. The 6 of Wands. Now I have 2 6s. What are you guys doing? No. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, last row. The 9 of Cups. And then I'm going to stop the camera so I can let them out back. Okay, the poor things are so antsy since I can't walk them. Okay, so 9 of Cups. 10 of Wands. That's interesting. And the Death card. Well, that is quite the interesting spread. All right. I'm going to put you on hold for a second and let the dogs out, and then I'm going to come back and flip this over. We're going to see what the overall energy is. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I know it's suspenseful. Be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I was able to close the blinds too. So, we have 2 6s. Let me just count it out. We have 1, 2 Swords, 2 Wands, 3 Cups, and 2 Major Arcana cards. Okay, and I have 2 6s here. And it is always relevant when the numbers repeat themselves. So that's an additional message. What is over the entire reading, the energy over the entire reading? It is the 7 of Pentacles. Well, that's quite an interesting energy. Now, right in the center, we have the Justice card. It represents Libra, the sign of Libra, and is ruled by the planet Venus. Venus is not just about love, harmony, and beauty, but she's about value and value systems. She rules, beautiful things, yes, artwork, right relationships, in other words, balanced relationships, harmonious relationships. But it also rules your second house of finances, all that you own own, earn, or owe. So this includes your stocks, your bonds, your charities, your mortgages, your car payments, your movable possessions, your jewelry, your clothes, your car, your landlady, your landlord, your property, those kinds of things. Libra, of course, is about, it is the house of partnership. So this could be, romantic partnerships, friendships, business partnerships, and I like to call it the house of contracts. All right. So this could, for some of you, be a legal issue because everything else is going on around the Justice card, but it could also be the idea of some type of karmic situation. So let's say, for instance, something has happened and we get the short end of the stick, but then we know that it's over, right? Even though we may not think that what is fair, the outcome was fair, it is now over. So therefore, justice has been served. So this could be secular law or even karmic law. And then you can move on to something else. Now, clearly, there's a major change coming at the end of this week for some of you. It ends here with the Death card. This is the energy writing out of the spread here. And just looking at it, it appears that some of you feel as though you are in a situation which you cannot get out of. You think this. That's what the swords represent. Thoughts, belief, perceptions, ideas, communication. We do know that we are coming out of a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Libra. It goes direct tomorrow. We'll be going back into the sign of Virgo. And sometimes the Eight of Swords is a card that says whatever the situation is, it is a situation of your own making, right? And that can sometimes be very difficult for us to accept. It can also be an indication that you have, you're afraid to make a move, or you're confused about what's happening, and therefore that's causing you some stress and duress. But the truth of the matter is that, if you can take the blinders off to the situation, you will find exactly that you are not trapped in the situation in any way, right? That's a mental thing. So the reality of whatever the situation is may not be as bad as what your mind is telling you it is. And this it talks about, even though you may be stuck literally in a place where you can't move, or there's something that you can't do at the moment, your mind is free to figure out what it is that you need to do. Now, what I think I find interesting is that following this card, if there's some confusion or you're not able to think clearly, this Seven of Cups also says the same thing. It says that, emotionally you're confused. You don't know maybe you have so many choices, you don't know which choice is the right one and which one to pick. But the beauty of the Seven of Cups says that if you can identify the most important thing and focus on that, right, then you most certainly can get all of these things that you want. But you're going to have to prioritize. You're going to have to determine, what actually, what's the word that I'm looking for, the phrase. You're going to have to actually determine what things can actually help you achieve your goals, because everything else is superfluous, okay? It's just a distraction. I do see that for some of you, you do come out of this situation. And what's interesting to me is from the 8 to the 6 is 2 swords. And we know the image of the 2 swords. And that too can be this idea of not knowing what to do, or unsettling communications. Maybe you got some news that kind of threw a wrench in all of your plans, or saying that, I don't have enough information to make a decision. It is a 2. But I do see that at some point, this is past, present, future, interplay of the cards. And depending on where you are in the story, for some of you, this could have started, a week or 2 ago. For others of you, it may be starting this week. For others of you, it could play out after the week of the 7th, okay, into the second week of October. But nevertheless, the 6 of Swords says that you are able to literally move away from all of this confusion and this feeling like you're stuck in a situation that you can't get out of. The thing about the 6 of Swords is that it says that even though you may be moving, you're still taking your thoughts with you, okay? And this is moving from rougher waters to calmer waters. I've seen this card show up when it talks about travel over, around, nearby water, perhaps a move over, around, near, or by water. But basically, it's just saying that eventually this situation, and even mentally, you're going to be able to move away from it. Okay. Now I have this King of Cups here, and this is would be, for all intents and purposes, a water sign, perhaps male, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. If not that, then this could be a lawyer or someone, a counselor of such. Typically, he relates to the law. We see this king floating on water, so in a sense, it kind of implies an emotional balance. But sometimes, you know, that can be, because of the depiction of the water, somebody who's all tossed about. And he is next to the Justice card. And I'm kind of puzzled as to what this particular line is speaking about, because it looks like we have this male. Maybe there is a legal issue, or maybe there is some kind of, if not a legal issue, then some kind of fair play in a situation that results in a victory. So the Six of Wands is a victory card. Before it was a 6, it was a 5. You know, the card where everybody's beating each other over the head with sticks. This is about leadership, this card here. Okay. You were able to come along and get everybody together and have you all going in one direction and follow you. So I've seen this card show up when it speaks to perhaps getting a promotion, getting a bonus, getting the recognition you finally deserve. It can be, I've seen it show up when it says that you may get your name in the paper, or some other situation like that. It implies a balance, okay? And then we come to the final row, the Nine of Cups. Well, the Nine of Cups, the only thing it ever says is that it's the wish card. And that, you know, your hopes and wishes and dreams will come true. That sometimes you are on the right path, whatever decision you choose to make. And there's a lot of movement here. This side of the spread is more static. And then we tend to get into a lot of movement here in the future row. So whatever this thing is, it brings you to a place, there's an additional 4 wands added here, of being perhaps in a situation where maybe you might bite off more than you can chew, or it may be whatever it is you're trying to do is a heavy lift. Okay. This card sometimes implies that you have taken on a bit more than you can handle. It could be the idea that you are not delegating and you're trying to do everything for everybody else. And if you do that, then you take away people's ability to learn their lesson of cause and effect. I always say I don't never ever consider this card to be a burden card, because to me a burden seems to weigh you down. This is the idea that you got a lot of irons in the fire. There's a lot of things you're trying to do, and you're just trying to do, you know, too much at once. I think that's kind of what's coming across. There's another message here, and I can't quite pull it up. But nevertheless, it leads to a major change. Okay? So the Death card is simply that. It is a transformational card. It is the state of moving from one not just situation, but from one from one energy to the next, from one transition to the next. It talks about the ending of one thing and the beginning of something else. So the Death card is not always the negative card that we think it is. Whatever this situation is here, and even with this 10 of Wands, it tells me that this is going to come to an end. It's repeated up here. There's a victory following this that's going to end something. Now, the 7 of Pentacles is the card of waiting for the harvest to come in. Before it was a 7, it was a 6. 7s always represent a moment of self-doubt, of questioning yourself, of wondering, you know, what is the next step that I need to take. So sometimes this card can be about stopping and taking a moment to consider everything that has come before moving on or moving forward with the next step. This can be the idea that you've been working and working and working, and you still, you know, you're waiting to get paid, or you're waiting to get that reward come in. You know, you don't feel like you're being compensated enough. But then it also is this idea, if you look at it, again, that would be a 6 of Pentacles, right? That there was a balance and a harmony over here. You've got a bunch of stuff that you got that I would consider to be rather solid, whether this is financially or whatever it is you've been doing. But now you're presented with a new element. Okay, and that comes across here with these things. All right. Now, even if you are a female or you identify with the female role, you yourself can take on the role of a king. And basically, what that simply means is that you are handling things, you are doing things. This could be the idea that you finally get your emotions in control. Okay, right? So you can, and once you have your emotional control over the situation, then you can move forward. All right. So it just depends. Now, what I cannot do is I cannot look at him because traditionally he does represent a person. So what does that leave me? It leaves me this top row. It leaves me the 6 of Wands, the 9 of Cups, and the 10 of Wands as it relates to Justice and the Death card. Now, and quite honestly, there's no interpretations about what this is. No additional information. This could be the idea of be careful what you wish for here. Okay. But other than that, there's really nothing else I can give you additionally. So let me grab my book. And, you know, there's something else this 10 of Wands is saying to me. And I want to take a look at it. Let me see here. I don't even know what I've just had a brain fart. Hold on. Okay. The 10 of Wands. Maybe indicating that you will receive material rewards, but spiritually you are floundering at this time. If you are involved in a lawsuit, you will most certainly face defeat when this card appears in a, and well, that could be what that is. It indicates a time for you to set limits and restrictions on yourself and others. This time will not last too long and you will be glad of the benefits achieved. It indicates that you may not be at peace with yourself and you may be acting in a selfish and thoughtless manner. It indicates that a problem may soon be solved, although it can also mean that force and energy has been applied for selfish ends. Well, you know, sometimes you just got to push the issue. I mean, you know, depends on what it is that's happening, right? So that's that. And it really quite didn't give me what it was I was looking for. So I will be looking at that card with the Sabilas. But now we're going to go ahead and take a look at, to see if we can find any additional information. I got the wrong book. Any additional information with these pip cards as they relate to Justice and the Death card. So let's start in the order that they fell. We start with the 8 of, well, nothing about the 8 of Swords. But it says you need to be wary of betrayal when this card appears. So keep your eyes and ears open and remain very aware at this time. You are asked to use your intuition and inner knowing. It also tells you to pay attention as some long-awaited news or information is on its way to you. That's that 2 of Swords that I was talking to you about. Okay, let's move to the, and it tells me nothing next to these cards. Let's take a look at the 7 of Cups, shall we? Nothing about the 7 of Cups. It says it suggests that choices must be made carefully in regards to future goals and ideas. There may be a tendency to fantasize about future achievements rather than actually putting solid plans in place or into practice. You are asked to look at unrealistic ideals and sort your priorities, casting aside those that are not worth pursuing. This progress calls for rational analysis and discernment. There you have it. It is an indication that you will find a resolution, and this should bring contentment. It indicates that something you have worked long and hard for will prove beneficial on many counts. You may not have expected quote-unquote payment as such, but your work has been worth reward. So remember, we're talking about this. Still doesn't tell me anything next to these two. Six of Swords. Nothing about the Six of Swords. It may be an indication that you've endured a very trying time of late. Now, I forgot about this. This could be the severance of some type of relationship, okay, or partnership. So remember, we're talking about this. So it could be that some of you have some kind of business relationship or romantic relationship with this King of Cups here, and you are able to amicably work out a solution here. It may be a hard lift, again, as I say, but definitely there is an end in sight. Let's move to the Six of Wands. And 2 sixes, by the way, can tell of justifiable faith and trust in your partner, but 2 sixes can also be an indication of, oh Lord, hold on. 2 sixes can also be an indication of issues surrounding equality affecting the relationship. Remember, I gave you that thing about right relationships, balanced and fair relationships with Venus? Could be that. So let's move to the, did I just do the Six of Wands? Yes, I did. We're going to move now. I'm going to do the Nine of Cups, but the Nine of Cups never tells me nothing. And sometimes I'm very disappointed in the Nine of Cups. It's a good card to see, but, you know, doesn't tell me anything. Except that, you know, when I look to the other cards, it gives an indication of how success will come about. And I think this card is the key. Let me look at the Ten of Wands again, because I didn't look at it to begin with. I did, but I didn't. Hold on. Wands, here we go. Pentacles and Cups. The Star card. No. It absolutely tells me nothing. But what's interesting about this is it's a 10. And as you know, a 10 is a changing energy. It's a changing energy. It eventually becomes an Ace of Wands. So whenever 10 show up, it's a focus on a completion of events. Whatever this thing is, it is definitely going to come to an end. So let me pull a few cards. I honestly feel that the Ten of Wands is the key to this particular here we're talking about confusion. We're talking about making choices. The Justice card, let me give you that. This is what we're talking about here. Because it also implies rationalization. Okay? And, hold on. Justice. It implies that a fair and just decision has been made after a situation has been fully investigated and that justice has been served. The card asks that you rely upon your intuition and go ahead with plans. Do not allow anyone to sway you from your path or influence you against your better judgment. Of course, it tells on a focus of matters concerning the law or partnerships. It says that if you are in the throes of obtaining justice, especially with legal documents, solicitors, and all types of legal actions, the outcome will be successful. And it says that if, you know, it relates to a career choice, it talks about something leaning favorably towards social work, the police force, or careers involving legal issues and or governmental departments. Now, that's pretty much it. Here is something that I think is important. To achieve balance, we must learn to understand the power we have in our own existence. Once we learn to blend the higher self with our daily thinking pattern, we will learn how to avoid the obstacles and pitfalls experienced when we operate fully on a materialistic level. As we learn to blend the two levels, we mature spiritually. It makes us grow stronger and develop an inner strength that will help us to steer our lives in the right direction. Balance within gives us great strength to our character. I think that's I think this is, it concerns the ability to discriminate, discern, and make choices based on dispassionate, impersonal evaluation of merit. Justice represents the uniquely human quality of impartial judgment and the power of the rational mind. It represents the choices we make and reminds us to base them on wisdom, planning, reflection, rationality, and the weighing up of options between the sword and the scale. Okay, so let's take a look at this 10 of Wands here. Alrighty. You see, what I find interesting is either way it goes, this comes to an end. Once you move away and whatever this thing is all about, then you kind of, maybe your wish is just to be rid of the situation and or person altogether. That tells me that it's true. It is here in the present energy that I think there's going to be, not a hiccup, but again, the term heavy lift keeps coming across. So here we go. Amore. Disgrazia. And the Donna Maritata. That's three quite distinct cards. The Amore represents Cupid. So this can be about infatuation. Now, you can be infatuated with anything. You can, oh, I love that, and then you're all infatuated with it, right? But it talks about just kind of blindly shooting your arrows at something, not really knowing where it's going to land. And if you do that, there's no certainty or solidity to whatever the thing the arrow pierces. Okay, sometimes this card can be an intensifier, heated emotions and passions. Here we have the Disgrazia. Now, the Disgrazia is a card of humiliation. It is a card of pain, a situation that is causing you a lot of problems, a person who's causing you a lot of problems. Sometimes it can be an indication of public humiliation. And then we have here this Donna Maritata. Now, she is known as the married woman in the deck in this card. So this, as I say, could be a separation. It could be finally that your divorce is going to be coming and you've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally, you know, maybe there's been some hiccup over the past month or so with the Mercury retrograde. But she's not always a married woman. Okay, not always. And so in which case it would be describing her character as someone who is kind and nurturing and caring. So this could be, you know, a sister, an employee, a friend, a daughter. It could be anybody, really. So I don't know if you recognize this situation or you know someone in this situation, in which case the cards are saying clearly that whatever the situation is, it will be resolving itself. Now, can I give you an indication of when? No, not really. You know, it just depends on what you have going on in your life. Where are you at this particular stage of this situation? But it also depends on other people. And whether or not you can rally people around you to kind of help you get through this. Okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull a Golden Nostradamus card. And we will see what Nostradamus has to say about this. I'm looking to see, there really isn't another card that stands out or speaks to me about anything. The Death card is speaking quite clearly that this situation is coming to an end. And when I say to you that it is a new beginning, if you can notice the sun there rising between the two towers, kind of like the darkest before the dawn kind of a thing, you know, and it's asking you to forget all what has come before so that you can, you know, forget the past so that you can start to live for the present. All right. And sometimes this whole idea of waiting for the harvest to come in may not necessarily be a financial thing. It can be the reward of freedom in whatever sense that means for you. All right. Your physical security, where you live, your home, whatever that may mean for you. Here is your card. I don't know if this is the tree or the star. I'm not sure. But there is the image. Okay. I'll put it right there. And let's read it. I'll tell you in just a second. Actually, it's neither one. It's called the thorns. It says, the only certainty in our earthly lives is that they go on as a war. This card may be the harbinger of bad news or mourning or a simple difficulty that will cause pain. The wound will prick you like a thorn in your serenity or in your body. In other words, it's saying that, you know, even if you've never been divorced, there is a period of mourning after divorce. It's like the 7 stages of grief. And those things you have to allow those things to work out. But ultimately, eventually, that ordeal will be over, right? And so I feel here with this card, it is kind of saying the same thing, that something is going to happen that is going to cause you a great deal of pain. It says the wound will prick you like a thorn, either in your serenity, we see the mental cards here, or even in your body. You know, in other words, you can get headaches or, you know, your heart can hurt. And so just know that regardless of the outcome or the situation, eventually whatever the pain that is caused will pass. Okay, let me just give you a bit of additional information about the Disgrazia card. It is a tower card, but it does not have the same meaning of the tower card as the in the actual tarot itself. Now, it speaks of turbulence that is about to enter your life. It can herald the arrival of traumatic events for which you are apparently blameless and which are caused by outside events and people. The card has an implication, a philosophical approach to right and wrong, and what the card conveys is that usually you, but not always, do not deserve what happens to you. Okay? Sometimes the card can be an implication that you have failed to learn from past mistakes, or that a mistake from the past will come to exact payment in the present. You will feel like a hapless victim of circumstance and completely powerless. It indicates a drastic and radical change for the worse, something that will never return to the way it used to be. Now, when I say the worst, okay, this can be the idea of getting some news. Maybe you lost your job, or someone just comes home one day and say, you know what, I don't want to be with you no more, and I want you to get out. Okay? Nevertheless, the death card says that situation is a final situation. Okay, and that you will be able to move on from this. Now, in personal relationships, the card heralds a painful and sudden separation. It could be violence or even the loss of a friend or family member, a bereavement, and the traumatic and unexpected loss of a loved one. Well, I would say, given what particularly Florida has just been through, that might apply for some of you. Okay, not all of you, but some of you. In financial matters, it can herald a sudden and unexpected dismissal, repossession, foreclosure, embezzlement, bankruptcy, and problems with the tax man. Let's see. What else does it say? Another neutral meaning is simply indicates that sometimes happy events will happen suddenly and out of the blue, like a stroke of luck. So it's not always necessarily something negative, right? This could be literally out of the blue, some kind of sudden luck for you. You know, something decided in your favor, or you're able to shed yourself of a really vexing situation, kind of like out of the blue. So it's just going to depend on what you have going on in your life, whatever that situation is. And that is what I have for you. I do hope that message helped. And until next time, be well, stay safe. And I'll see you guys again next week. Okay? Bye.